to allow air to flow through the car, and also to keep the car as aerodynamic as possible. And you don't want to carry too much heat shielding and things either.
Our DHL pole sitter for the opening race in Portugal for race 1 here in Villarreal is Tom Coronel. He will lead the field away in a few minutes around this 4.8 kilometre street circuit to begin getting race 1 underway. Cars on the warm-up lap around the streets of Villarreal in northern Portugal. Let's catch up with our second race pole sitter, Tiago Monteiro, and get his thoughts.
Hello everyone, here we are on the warm-up lap for this first race of Villarreal. I stole the car on the grid, judging a little bit the grip level, more grip than I expected, so it was a good indication. Now we are here warming up the car, the tires, brakes. I mean, everything is already warm, as you can imagine, since it is very hot outside, very hot inside as well. Nevertheless, you have to prepare and get ready for the start of this first race, where I'm starting P10. The first race is the one that is important for me, as I'm starting on pole position. So let's focus on this one to bring the car home. Thank you very much. Enjoy the races. Obrigado a todos pelo apoio. Estamos aqui na partida da primeira corrida a aquecer o carro da melhor forma possível. Pneus, travões, tudo. O piloto já está quente, está muito quente dentro do carro, obviamente. Vamos agora preparar esta primeira corrida. Muito importante chegar ao fim com o carro inteiro. Vamos ver. O que é importante aqui hoje é a segunda corrida. Quero perceber como é que está o carro e atacar até ao fim, trazendo o carro inteirinho. Espero que gostem. Abraço a todos e até já.
That makes a lot of sense then.
Obrigado. Well, he was saying exactly the same thing in Portuguese for the Portuguese fans listening, as he was in English for everybody else.
No, it was good to hear that he actually made a mistake and actually stalled there rather than having some kind of mechanical issue. Because
exactly so, just what I was thinking. That's very good news indeed, because hopefully he has got that out of the way and will now have a better chance of making a clean start, not only in this race but also in our main race that follows. So 2 races on the streets here, and for Thiago, starting 10th in this one and 1st in the main race, the second race here. Survival is absolutely critical. 13 laps, the scheduled distance for our opening race. Let's hope that is a fortunate omen for everybody involved. And now the nerves start to jangle as the cars come to their grid spots. A large crowd around the Villarreal circuit in Portugal. Local hero Thiago Monteiro starts 10th in our opening race in the World Touring Car Championship. The man on pole, the yellow, black and red car, Tom Coronel, alongside him the yellow Lada, and that is Nicky Katzberg. Our grid is complete with our rookie, 18 years old at the back. Red lights are on, and away we go. Look for a good start from the Citroens, and behind at the back the Citroen of Ivan Muller trying to get by the 2 Hondas of Rob Huff and Norbert Mikulic. They're going 3 wide. Coronel's made a good start. Tom Chilton has gone by Nicky Katzberg, and the 3 wide has sorted itself out. Muller decided to back off and tuck in behind as Jose Maria Lopez gets in front of Ten Björk. So Lopez already up to 5th, 1 spot away from the grid. Might be all he gets, it might be all he needs. He's already got a very comfortable championship leader, Harry Folkard. Clean start, and Coronel now has got to run away and hide as much and as quick as he possibly can.
Yeah, fantastic getaway from the lighter by Coronel, and that's exactly what he needed to do. Chilton obviously made a move on Katzberg as well. Chilton's a good, safe pair of hands to have behind Coronel. Obviously previous teammates as well, so they're not going to do anything too daft around here.
Yeah.
And I think in Coronel's mind, that's a good thing to have someone like Chilton behind him.
Well, right now, it's about surviving and being in a position late in the race, maybe to take advantage of a tired driver with tired tyres or tired brakes, and perhaps pick up a place for a puncture or 2 or some incidents. Coronel and Chilton going away, Tom and Tom. 3rd place is the Lada of Nicky Katzberg, and then in 4th place, Mehdi Banani. So Banani Citroen in front of Lopez, and there is Banani, little gap back to Lopez. Oh, but Tom Chilton is looking very racy here. Opening lap, fresh tyres. He's really trying to put Coronel under pressure. Coronel, whose brother Tim is here this weekend, along with a whole bunch of friends, will be desperately trying to hold on, look for his second win of the season.
Yeah, we saw Chilton put a little nose up just on the inside of him. I think it was into 11, just showed his nose there. And as you say, this third sector, he was looking very, very quick there. He's dropped ever so slightly down there, but early on in sector 3 was looking very, very quick.
Tom Coronel has only won 2 races in a season once before. That was in 2013. Now looking to try and claim a second victory as we enter the second part of this year's World Touring Car Championship. This is the 7th race weekend of 12. So half the race is down. We're now really into the meat of the championship. Last European race, and then we head off overseas. On board with Rob Huff. He'll start well up the second race grid. He's currently in 7th place. Thiago Monteiro made a good, clean start. No contact, no ifs, no buts, no biffs. And he lies in 10th place where he started. But all eyes on the battle at the front. And then Nicky Katzberg in the Lada. Lada not with the pace they had in Russia, Harry. 70 kilos of ballast for the sweep of the podium, or sweep of qualifying, and the 1-2 in both races in Russia has really hurt their balance here. They've never run the car so heavy and aren't quite sure what to do with it.
Yeah, it's a big problem for them. Obviously, it's the heaviest it's been, and carrying weight around a street circuit like this. Yes, there's a lot of fast-flowing bends here, which doesn't hurt it too much, but there's also some big stops and big getaways as well off the slower corners, and that's where you really feel the weight of carrying success ballast.
You see riding the curbs here as they come out of corner 6. Again, the 2 Toms together, a couple of car lengths back to Katzberg, Bonani, Lopez, Björk, Huff, Michaelis, Muller, Monteiro, Thompson. It's a big long queue as they stream by our wall cam. Little gap back behind Muller, in fact, to Monteiro. He's got Jimmy T behind him, so Thompson will undoubtedly be looking to try and move up the order a little bit in the Munich Motorsport Chevrolet. And Nicky Katzberg feeling the pressure from Mehdi Bonani. This is the 3rd. A similar situation to Tom Coronel. So the 2 yellow cars, both with a Sebastian Lowe Racing Citroen up their exhaust pipes, which can't make for comfortable racing.
No, and it's difficult, these early stages as well for the likes of Coronel, who can't make any mistakes. Well, nobody can because it's so close, but when you've got Coronel and you've got Chilton pushing you, they're still waiting for the pressure to come up in the tyres, and then but Monteiro here.
Vibration on the steering wheel, very bad.
Okay, so complaining about vibration. Now, whether that is a brake disc or a wheel imbalance, whether stalling the car has just shunted a balance weight off it or something, or whether he's picked up some debris from tyre rubber around the circuit.
It was what I was about to say there, was about early laps. When you hit these curbs, you get the big curb strikes, which you have to take because you can't give an inch, obviously, when it's so tight on that opening lap. That's when your tyres are running at the lowest pressure, and that's when you risk giving your tyre a problem, and you can cause major tyre failure, and that obviously normally when you get a vibration, that can be a sign of that.
Well, Ivan Muller told us after qualifying that he buckled a wheel in qualifying, hitting the curb hard, and that's exactly the issue. It's not these little low flat painted ones, it's the big ones inside the chicane, the big blue curbing. Those are ones that really can wreak havoc on your car's suspension. It's like going up the curb on the side of a street in a normal road circuit, or a normal road rather.
Yeah, if not even slightly, certainly higher, but probably slightly less.
Yeah, it's that one right there. Yeah. Those are the big beasts that do the damage, or can do the damage. It may just be that he's put a little ding in the wheel rim, and as such it won't be running true. Like if you do it with your bicycle, and we've all done that, hit a pothole or something, and it just bends the wheel out of tune. You can feel the shaking, and in a racing car, you want to be reassured that it is something with the wheel and not something really much more major underneath the bonnet.
Yeah, and I mean, let's hope for Thiago's sake that it is something small like that, but he seems to be dropping back off the back of the Citroen ahead of him as well, so maybe it is something a little bit more difficult.
See the Portuguese flags waving furiously as they encourage Thiago. I think the circuit announcer will definitely be warning them that this is not the race in which he's really going to give it everything. That is yet to come. For Tom Coronel, though, this is the race. Any chance you get to start on the front row? Hang on a minute, Ted Bjork under pressure. No, Rob Huff maybe looked like he thought about having a move there, but Bjork got the door closed. Yeah, that was thought Huff had a bit of an overlap coming down there.
Good defending from Bjork, because Huffy dived up the inside there. It looked like he was going to get an overlap, but didn't manage to make it stick.
Two-wheeling over the curbs, Tom Coronel still leading here. Tom Coronel, Tom Chilton, 1-2. Nicky Katzberg, Mehdi Benani, Jose Maria Lopez, that's 3-4-5. Ted Björk under pressure from Rob Huff. There's the Volvo, and Chilton looks to the inside and can't find enough room through. Now, does that leave him open to attack from Katzberg? Will he be slow off the turn? He will be slow off the turn, but Katzberg has no way to get through. And that was well judged by Chilton. You've got to know what follows if you get it wrong, and if you can survive if you have a lunge. And he knew that there was really nowhere for Katzberg to get by, so it's worth having a little look.
Yeah, and he went defensive as soon as he came off the corner. He went to the left-hand side and then saw that he had the gap to be able to push back over to the right and get back on the line. And we saw him have a little dab of the brake just before he flicked it back into the next left.
Fastest first sector of the race by Thiago Monteiro on this lap. So the answer is there's nothing fundamentally or majorly wrong at the moment with Monteiro's car. And in fact, there he is. He's shaken off James Thompson and he's having a little toe up behind Ivan Muller.
Yeah.
Well, what is the team here from Thiago?
Very strange vibration, very bigger than we had all weekend, especially on the right-handers.
Okay, in the right-handers, so that would suggest the right-hand front wheel is damaged or the left-hand front wheel is damaged and it's vibrating more when it is unladen. I'm not sure.
Left front, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's one of the ones that gets a bit, well, they both get big, massive curb strikes, but
yeah,
it certainly sounds like that could be a bent wheel or something along those lines. But the fact that they've been getting this problem all weekend, it does indicate the fact that they will have been bending wheels and knocking weights off them and things by hitting these curbs. So perhaps he's just mullered it slightly harder than normal.
Big lock up from Tom Coronel coming down into this little flick-flack chicane. We're talking about this before we started racing, Harry. So many of the big stops here. Oh, and Huff gets into the back of Ted Björk in the Volvo, who is just a little slow off, and Huff has got Michelitz alongside. Yep. Norby is to our right. Is there an overlap? No, there isn't. Look how close Huffy got to the barriers. Norby can't have been in that gap. So many of the big stops here are, you know, downhill and in a corner. And Björk just a little slow at the apex, Huff carrying more speed in. Well, no harm, no foul there, I don't think.
Just ever so slight little touch, wasn't it?
And it certainly wasn't a cynical tap off the circuit, was it? Coronel still defending from Chilton, and behind, look, Benani all over the back of Nicky Katzberg. Is Katzberg running out of tyre in these 50-degree track temperatures?
I think it's probably too early for the tyres to be coming into effect just yet, but this will be some of the first race length runs that they've done, which may be why Monteiro, if he has got more of a vibration now, because he'll have started with the tyre pressure a lot lower than they have done all weekend. Yeah. If he's hit the tyre pretty hard early on a lower pressure tyre, then that could have affected the wheel slightly more than perhaps in previous strikes. That may be something like along those lines, that as the largest tyres are coming up, you know, they're carrying more weight now as well, so that's also going to hurt them a bit more.
Absolutely right. Well, it's a fairly unabrasive or non-abrasive surface. It's fairly close-grained rather than coarse for dispensing water or holding water, because it's not so much of an issue here as it would be in a northern European city. So it's not hard on the tyres per se. And there's lots of long, fast sections as well, Harry, to allow the brakes to cool down, but that allows the tyre to cool down as well. It heats up most when it's cornering hard and cools down most when it's running straight. Yeah,
prolonged periods of load, which we don't really have. The sweepy stuff here is more like that, where it's not, the tyre's not under massive load. And yeah, you are slowing it down, but you're not really leaning on it, you know, so it's relatively basic for the tyres to cope with around here.
That last corner down to the roundabout, that is a monster corner. You come over the brow, flying it around 150 miles an hour, and then you have to slow the thing down to under 50 in a downhill, tightening right-hand corner. It's a monster corner, and we've seen a few incidents there in the races so far. And we saw a couple of cars getting a little wide there and almost hitting the walls in qualifying. Nicky Katzberg a little slow off the corner. Wheel spin has been a fact that we've heard a lot from the larders throughout the race weekend. Well, let's hear from Nicky Katzberg under pressure in third.
Brake pedal is going very low.
Oh dear. Okay, so what happens? What that means, Harry, is that instead of the brake pedal going the same distance as it normally does when you brake, it's continuing to go down to the floor, and they don't usually fix themselves.
No, long brake pedal can be one of a few things. You've either got a leak in the system somewhere, which is the least likely and also probably the most scary. You're boiling the brake fluid, which could be a possibility, but again, there's not loads of massive stops here, but temperature's high, and there are a couple of big stops, so it could be that. or thirdly, when you get pad knockoff, which is when the wheel deflects and pushes the disc around, which then pushes the pads back in the caliper. Then when you press the brake pedal, the pads have then got to push back into the disc, and that also causes a long pedal. So you have to tap the pedal up to make sure you've got a solid pedal. But either way, it's not ideal.
No. It's okay if there's a bit of a grass runoff area and some rumble strips that you can run wide across, but as you'll spot it here, they don't have those on street circuits. They have nice solid walls that you will run into, and Katzberg had a big shunt here last year and will not want to repeat that. If he gets to a moment where the pedal just goes away from him and survives it, then you'll see him pulling into the pit lane, because there's an awful lot at stake. But as you say, what he'll be doing is what Alain Menu used to do at every single corner of his entire racing career, which is just press the brake pedal with his left foot before he needed it, to make sure it was there, to feel that pressure, and then really go hard onto it when he needed to stop.
Yeah, it gives you a consistent pedal under your foot. Then you know that when you press the brake pedal, when you hit the brake pedal at 52 metres or wherever your braking point is, it's going to work.
Well, Tom Chilton, fastest second sector of the race on the last lap, really keeping up the pressure on Tom Coronel. Chilton, twice a winner back in 2013, as was Coronel, and he won a race in 2014 as well, so looking for his 4th career victory in World Touring Cars. It is likely, it would seem, to be one of the Toms, unless they come to blows, in which case then the field is wide open, and you've got to look perhaps at the man in 5th place, who we ride with now, Jose Maria Lopez. As a man most likely to take advantage of any instant between the top two. There are still 2 cars between him and them, Mehdi Benani's Citroen and Nicky Katzberg's Lada. But if he's in 3rd and not 5th, I would expect Lopez to push on even harder. With Rob Huff behind the Volvo, which looked a little uncomfortable there over the chicane. Looks like Ted Björk got in just a little offline. There's James Thompson in 11th, Hugo Valente in 12th, Robert Dagra in 13th, Gabriele Tarquini up to 14th, then John Philippi ahead of Ferenc Spitzer, Greg de Moustier and Daniel Nudge. Daniel Nudge still some way ahead of the leaders, and in fact Daniel, his last lap, his best of the race, a 2-minute 4.8. A good clean start from everybody really, apart from Nicky Katzberg. He lost out at the start. Look at Hugo Valente there, firing up the inside. And this is Tom Chilton's move on Nicky Katzberg. And you heard Tom Coronel before the race, Harry, say how important making a good start would be. And that's exactly what he did and what Nicky didn't.
Coronel got a fantastic start. You can actually see the black lines from the tyres, having a slight wheel spin, just over rotating, but not enough to lose him time. But you can just see 2 little tiny black marks after
and there was lots of rubber down there as well. Lots of other pole sitters had left lots of rubber from the earlier races this weekend. So he had something to grip on as well. We also saw how aggressive Hugo Valente was at the start, trying to go around the outside of James Thompson. It didn't work. He lost out a bit of ground, and in fact Hugo is now in the pits, so I'm not quite sure what happened to his car. Maybe it was that initial contact. I was just about to say Daniel Nudge, 2 minutes 4.8, his fastest lap, and there is Valente in the pit lane. So Daniel Nudge, the teenager in the Zengo Motorsport Honda, how far is he behind the leader? Only 21.7 now. That seems, oh, he's 21.7 behind Greg de Moustier. But he is still safely ahead of the leaders. They're not going to catch him at least for a long while. On board with Rob Huff around the streets of Villarreal. First of our 2 races in the World Touring Car Championship here in Portugal. Lap 8 of 13. We have completed half the distance. Rob Huff chasing the blue Volvo of Ted Björk, whose teammate Robert Dahlgren is in 12th position further back in the field. Tom Coronel leads, and the gap for the first time seems to be opening up a fraction over second place Tom Chilton. No, maybe that was just a...
It comes and goes quite a lot. I think Chilton seems mega in sector 2, and then Coronel has sector 3 nailed down, so they do seem to be coming and going towards each other, and it's a bit of a yo-yo thing. They keep pulling each other in, pushing each other away again, and depending on the sector time.
Well, report from the pit lane, Hugo Valente is in. He clipped the wall, so he's brought the car in for repairs before the second of our races here. He will start in 13th place for that race as well. Saw the 3rd Honda of Thiago Monteiro dropping back again from Ivan Muller, and again under pressure from James Thompson. And on board with Huff, there is Thiago, car number 18, as has always been in this championship.
Coronel just set his fastest personal lap of the race there. So over midway through the race, he's obviously okay on tyres at the moment and just settling down, getting a nice comfortable rhythm going, and then he's obviously managing this from the front.
Yes, and he needs to, doesn't he? Because there's not much space between him and Tom Chilton. Nicky Katzberg third, the yellow Lada, then the red, white and green, that's Mehdi Benani. Then Jose Maria Lopez in the red and black Citroën, the factory colour car. And there is Lopez, 37. Now, look the way he's pulled out completely to the opposite side of the road, and that's because he wants to get clear airflow through his cooling slots for brakes, for radiators. I wonder if his engine temperature lights are starting to get a little high.
Yeah, could well be anything like that, because when you're in traffic like this, you're not just, especially if you're lower down the queue, you're not just getting the car in front to do it. Yeah, it's the 4 or 5 cars ahead of them. Yeah. Street circuits, because of the nature it's so tight, the air just rises up off the black asphalt and tends to go straight through your car and is warmer than a normal race circuit.
Exactly so, because the vents are often right down at the bottom. Now, what's Mehdi Benani got to say? He again is looking for fresh air.
Pour info, Mehdi, Katzberg se plaint d'une pédale de frein longue, donc il n'est pas à l'abri de faire une erreur, reste bien au contact.
Okay, so they were warning Benani that Nicky Katzberg has got a brake pedal that is going long, so he says, be careful of contact. What they mean is he might not be able to stop, or, most importantly, might be braking earlier than you're anticipating, so just allow for that. Now, that is all well and good and very useful information, but when you've got Lopez behind you, you can see the dorsal fin breaking water in your mirror. Trying to give yourself a bit more room behind Katzberg is just backing you up into Lopez.
Yeah, you can't give him any extra room, but I suppose it gives you an idea. If you see him struggling on a braking zone somewhere, you know there's a good chance he's going to be pulling off on the next corner, so it gives you a bit of an idea that you'll be getting out of your way.
Yeah, I think they were worried that that Katzberg was suddenly going to start braking extra early and Benani was going to still be on full throttle when Nicky Katzberg was full on the brakes.
Yeah, this is true, and also if he is starting to knock the pedal up with his left foot, just so Benani doesn't get caught out by him.
Oh, Katzberg's car weaving around there as they do a lot. And in fact, Nicky Katzberg has just set the fastest race lap of all. We didn't see him straight line a chicane. So he is managing his brake issue, and in fact he and Benani are just starting to open up an extra maybe quarter to half a car length over Lopez. But again, Lopez may just be managing the temperatures. I don't think he feels threatened particularly by Ted Björk in the Volvo, so Lopez may be happy where he is at the moment.
Amazing, 5 of the top 6 cars have all set their personal best lap on that previous lap.
Yeah.
There's obviously, it shows that there's no tyre degradation, or almost none anyway. But
in fact, only Lopez didn't, but Lopez has now just set the personal best first sector. Just as I said he was dropping back half a car length, he's starting to charge up behind them. So the fuel load is burning off, the tyre is still giving good grip, even at track temperatures that you don't want to walk on this tarmac in bare feet in.
Yeah, definitely burn your feet.
Yeah, no question.
Melting my shoes.
Well, and the other thing is when you walk on the racing line, it's like a pub carpet, isn't it? You can feel your feet sticking to the rubber because it is so hot and sticky, and that, you know, that sort of helps to mitigate against the extreme temperature of the track, because the rubber that is down there is so sticky, it helps the tyre grip.
Yeah, and it's largely Yokohama rubber that's gone down this weekend, so that again helps as well. You know, if you mix a Yokohama tyre on a track which has been run on by, say, Porsches on a Michelin or something, then that can sometimes throw a spanner in the works and change the grip levels completely.
Huff all over the back of Ted Björk again as they came steaming down to the roundabout. He was having a little look at some fresh air just to keep the pressure on Björk. The mental strain of trying hard not to watch your mirrors and keep your speed up is what he's trying to induce. Coronel and Chilton, then Katzberg, Benani. There's Lopez in 5th position. Benani has just set the fastest race lap. On this lap, only Nicky Katzberg hasn't set his personal best in the top half dozen. Top 5.
You can see Katzberg actually in the big braking areas. It looks like when he's hitting the pedal, the car's pulling under the brakes a little bit.
I wonder whether he's got a weeping caliper, and that is just bleeding a bit of the pressure away, and that's making one of the other brakes grip harder. If you've got a slight leak, not only does the pedal go soft, go long, but also the brake that's not leaking will be grabbing compared to the one that's not working as effectively.
Yeah, could be something like that. I hope it's not, because normally if you've got a leak, it'll only take a few pumps on the pedal before you've pushed all the fluid out. But it's probably quite likely to be something like some dodgy pads in one of the brakes, or they're overheating.
Well, yeah, glazed pad somewhere will not be helping. However, he's managing whatever the issue is. Same too with Thiago Monteiro, who still is in 10th place, car intact. There's his teammates Rob Huff and Norbert Michelitz in the train behind the blue Volvo of Ted Björk.
Tom Chilton on the last lap, the fastest speed trap in sector 3 at 242 kilometres an hour. That's
over 150 miles an hour. There's Tim Coronel at the back of the Royal Motorsport Garage, watching twin brother Tom. Tim, the older of the two by a few minutes. Tom always says, yeah, it's the last time he was ahead of me. Tom Coronel leading the race.
Tim's been on holiday, hasn't he? He wasn't going to come, but when he found out that Tom was on pole, he said, I've got to come and see him. Drink champagne.
Yeah, drink champagne, exactly so. Great battle of the youngsters here. John Philippi, Ferenc Fischer, Greg de Moustier, Chevrolet, Honda and Citroën. And behind them, Daniel Nagy. Nagy, 206.2, his last lap. And his best lap, 204.6. The fastest race lap is a 2-minute flat .4, so he is his fastest race lap 2-minute 4.6, so 4.2 seconds off on a street circuit in a car he's never in his life driven. For an 18-year-old rookie, you've got to say, I think that's quite impressive. Even if he knew the track to be that close to the pace with his fastest laps is good. The fact that he is now, what's he done? He's now done 11 laps. He's now done more laps in this race than he's completed in total beforehand on this track. I think that's an outstanding job from the youngster.
Yeah, definitely. To be, like you said, 2 seconds off the back of de Moustier, who's been, this is his second full season in the championship, and he knows that car well. He's in a fast car, which we know is proven and runs well. In fact, Tom Chilton in the same team running in second place there, so we know that the car's capable of it. And only 2 seconds a lap off that guy, then that's not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Rob Huff still threatening to try a move on Ted Björk all the way to the end of the flag, to the checkered flag at the end of the race. This is lap 12 of 13 now for the leaders. Oh, and again, Huff has got a little bit of an overlap, but not quite enough, or is there? Yes, there is. Ted Björk runs a little wide. He'll have filth on the tyres. Huff's going to have to drive the long way around the outside, but persistence pays off. Now the road comes back to Huff. Really, really tight downhill braking into the roundabout, and through he goes.
What a great move.
Yeah.
He spotted the overlap there and just managed to make it stick.
And, he's tried the same overlap 3, 4, 5 times, and that time Björk was running a little wider and he got through. Lopez sets the fastest race lap, 2 minutes 0.43.
Huff got a mega drive off that corner, didn't he, which allowed him just to go to the outside and create the overlap. But we'd seen him try to do that, as you say, Martin, but later in the corner previously, but this time he just managed to fire it off the previous corner and get around the outside. Good move.
Be interesting to find out what the wheelbase of the Volvo is compared to the wheelbase of the Honda and the Lada, and whether it is like the Citroën C-Elysée, just a little bit of a longer car, more stable and harder to get it rotated around some of these tighter corners.
It seems to be going off more than the other cars as well. It's dropped about a second a lap from
and again, that's all part of setup, isn't it? They have their setup sheet for every track they're going to this year is a blank piece of A4 with the title and their name written on the top, and that's what they've got when they turn up at the track. And they've had no chance to go testing, and so every time they're making it up as they go along, which is not as random as it sounds, because they're well thought out engineers, but using the tyres in a hot, dry track. We haven't had a dry race weekend yet, never mind a hot, dry race weekend. This is into the unknown for them in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, and despite the fact that it's running a little bit lighter, they haven't had the development time that the other guys have had, and it's to be expected, really.
And so they are probably trying fairly conservative camber angles in the rain, and maybe going a little more aggressive here. Maybe they're just overcooked it and just wearing the tyre a little bit too much, or maybe it's just they haven't got the pressures right and all that sort of stuff. Fastest race lap last time round for Jose Maria Lopez, but Lopez now has Huff right up his back bumper. So Huff has closed in fast. However, at the front of the field, it is Tom Coronel. who is going to take victory here, his second win of the season. Tom Chilton second, Nicky Katzberg in third place, and a very happy Royal Motorsport garage indeed. Well, Pietro, his engineer, there in the middle of the throng. Ripple of applause as well from the Honda team. Good move by Rob Huff to take sixth at the flag. Here's the battle further back. John Philippi with Greg de Moustier behind him. Two French drivers, one Corsican, one French. And Philippi behind Ferenc Fischer, who is in 14th. Philippi finished 15th, de Moustier in 16th. And Daniel Nagy will complete safely, with no dramas and no hits on the wall, his first ever World Touring Car race. He has now completed 13 laps, or will now complete 13 laps of the race. And that will double his knowledge in total of the car and of this Villarreal circuit. But congratulations go to our race winner, Tom Coronel. The opening race in Portugal at Villarreal, won by Tom Coronel in the Royal Motorsport Chevrolet. Now, he still looks like he's going to go again, but look at the race suit. It is absolutely soaking wet. So he will be taking on a lot of fluids before the second race, but feeling no pain, is he?
Yeah, they reckon you can lose over a kilo of fluids from like a hot race like this.
Yeah, easy peasy. That's just a litre, and he'll be drinking at least a couple of litres before he gets back into the next car, into car for the next race. He's going to lose that much again in the second race, and as soon as you start to get really dehydrated, even adrenaline's not going to keep the concentration alive. Tom Chilton, second place, very happy with that. Do you know what he should be? You know, he came from third on the grid, made up a spot at the start. It was a really good getaway from him. He really judged that well, and there was not one single second of the race that leader Tom Coronel could relax, because Chilton was up his exhaust pipe the whole time.
Yeah, great effort by Tom, and he's done well to qualify where he did, and yeah, fair play.
Well, Alex Leguy is down there with our race winner. Let's hear from Tom Coronel.
Tom Coronel wins here, opening race, Villarreal. Tom, you had a brilliant start of the line, but you had Chilton hot on your tail all the way through. Did you feel the pressure?
Yeah, of course, I felt the pressure. First of all, you know, it's been one of my best teammates, up to Duncan Huisman, of course, because he was 4 years with me. But, you know, I know his thinking, I know his mind, he's clever. He was strong under the braking zones, where I saved myself a little bit, just for the tires. But I saw that in the high speed I could take a little distance just before the two braking zones. So I said, okay, this is in the pocket as long as I don't make a mistake. And I didn't make any mistake. So, yeah, I don't know, somehow I love street circuits.
Okay, and so now what's your strategy for the main race?
Well, main race I start P10. Now I hope it will be a big mess and I sneak in between, because that's what we're here for.
Well done, Tom.
Woo! Well, Tom Chilton made his move here on Nicky Katzberg, who did not get away well from the grid. And that's what cost Katzberg second place. He did at least, though, manage to finish on the podium. And Hugo Valente here. This move on James Thompson, is that where he hit the barriers? Glanced the wall there, must have been a little later, I think, but anyway, he retired. The only retirement from the race, no big incidents, no big accidents, thank goodness. Now we have another one to go.
You've said it now.
Yeah, I know. Tom Coronel, Tom Chilton, Nicky Katzberg, the top three. So our two Dutch drivers both on the podium. And they're having a pre-race chat with Tom's twin brother Tim, just at lunchtime in the shade at the back of the paddock. Little all-Dutch catch-up with friends and family. If Armand ended up in